Welcome into another Dynasty Rookie Profile where today we are looking at running back Jaylen Wright out of Tennessee, a player that I'm really, really excited about. And unfortunately, he is getting some hype, so he's not going to be some kind of sleeper. At least I don't think he will be. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Dynasty content. And the purpose of this series, where we already have a running back one of this dynasty rookie profiles. We have several receiver ones. We're just trying to dive deep into the numbers of some of these draft prospects of the 2024 draft class. And we're, specifically the guys that aren't going to be, the ones that we know about, the Marvin Harrisons, the Roma Dunzeys. We know about these guys. They're going to be good. They're going to go in the first round of our dynasty rookie drafts. We're trying to find the guys that are going to go in the second, third, fourth round, trying to find the hidden gem, in order to hit on a guy like a Puka Nacua or a Tank Dell or a Keaton Mitchell. So, we're going over the numbers. We're going over what I saw in the film, things I liked, things I didn't like about running back Jaylen Wright. It is March 3rd, so the combine has finished. I think maybe it's still going on for offensive linemen, but it has finished for all the fantasy relevant positions. So Jaylen Wright comes in at 5'10", 210, good size. Maybe put on 5 more pounds, and that's like the ideal running back size, 5'10", 215. But anyways, 5'10", 210 is fine. His last year at Tennessee, 137 carries, over 1,000 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns, 22 catches for 140 more yards. So pretty solid numbers, not mind-blowing numbers, but Tennessee just didn't use him that way in terms of giving him the full workload. I think he's never had more than 150 carries in a season. He's kind of projected as an early 4th right now. I wonder if that's going to go up. I've seen some people kind of have him as high, I believe, as the early 3rd. So he tested well at the combine. So that's always going to boost you up a little bit. People like athletes, and Jaylen Wright seems to be that. You look at his 40-yard dash, 4.38. That is getting into elite territory at the running back position. The guy's 215, 210 pounds, and he's running a 4.38. That's, again, elite territory. His 10-yard split. This is becoming, I mentioned it in the last video, this is becoming more of an important number for people because this is the how fast you are in the first 10 yards of your 40-yard dash. And the reason why it's important is because most running backs, most plays in general, but most running backs, they're not going for 40 yards, right? They're going for 4, 5, 10 yards, right? The plays are going for that much, not 40 yards. So how good is your initial burst? 1.55 is right around the threshold where we want to see for really, really good prospects. 1.57 is like the absolute highest, but in my opinion, anything 1.55 or below is fine, right? 1.55 is like right where you want to be at worst, in my opinion, for really, really good prospects. And then anything under 1.55, you're getting into like elite status. Now his broad jump was 134 inches. That is absolutely insane. That's more than most receivers in this draft class. The dude, and why the broad jump so important is it shows explosiveness, and it's showing it for Jaylen Wright in crazy number at the broad jump. So he tested it extremely well. He had a great day at the combine, in my opinion. We look at some of the other stuff here. The production in college. This is one red flag area, I guess you can say. Now, it's not the be all end all. No one thing is the be all end all, but generally, if you look at the fantasy relevant running backs over the last 10 years, and I went back and looked at all of them, the fantasy relevant running backs over the last 10 years or so, I think there's about 49 that I have on my list. And there's, 7 of the 49. Only 7 of the 49 had a career dominator percentage of under 15%. 7 of the 49. So generally, the fantasy relevant running backs are going to have a career dominator above 15% or higher. What is career dominator? That is the percentage of your team's total offense. As a running back, it's the percentage of your team's total offense, both passing and rushing. So his single season high was 15%, which was his last year at college. But his career total was 12%. So that's a little bit of a red flag. Generally, if you're a really good running back and you show it to your team, you're going to be given the lion's share of the workload, right? But that just wasn't the case. Now, Tennessee has a little bit of a history of maybe not running these guys as much as they should. They like to they use a very fast-paced offense, and by that they don't sub out a lot. So if one of the other running backs is on the field and they're having a good drive, there's a chance that Jaylen Wright just never sees the field because they never substitute. That's part of it for sure. So Tennessee's offense could be a part of the reason, and there's other reasons as well. Maybe they just want to use a two running back set. His breakout age is 20, so that's fine. We want to see 20 or lower. That's the year in which your first year in which you put up 15% or more of the team's total offense as a running back, and he was 20 years old, which was in his last year. So he's a relatively young prospect. He's going to turn 21 just before the NFL draft. So that's really good. Teams really value young running backs, 21-year-old running backs. So Jaylen Wright has that in his favor. His PFF rushing grade was 91.2. Anything above 90 is really, really elite. So it's really good to see that. So some goods, some bads. The combine numbers, really, really good. The production, not so great. The breakout age of the PFF grade, fantastic. Now, two areas in which I love to see running backs succeed at is elusive rating and breakaway percentage. These are two important statistics for me for a running back. Is elusive. Do you break tackles? And breakaway. Do you go on yards? Breakaway percentage is the percentage of your runs, your carries that are going for 10 yards or more. So elusive rating, he has one of the highest in this draft class. I think he's third out of the combine running backs, the running backs that went to the combine. I think Jaylen Wright is third behind Bucky Irving and Jonathan Brooks in elusive rating. He's one of the few running backs in this draft class that have really, really good numbers for both elusive rating and breakaway percentage. Over 52.1 or over 50%, 52.1% of Jaylen Wright's runs went for 10 yards or more. That's a really, really good number. Anything above like 45 is really good. And if you're pushing north of 50, that's like elite territory, right? I think he's second or third also in this draft class in breakaway percentage. And then finally, his yards per route run at 1.32. That is also maybe second or third best in this draft class. Top 5 for sure in this draft class. Now, I mentioned it with the last video, yards per route run. It's a little tricky in college because, there's just teams that don't pass to their running backs. Wisconsin is one that comes to mind. I remember that was a big deal with like Melvin Gordon. He didn't catch any passes in college, and then Melvin Gordon is one of the better pass catching running backs we've seen over the last 5, 6, 7 years or so. He's not just a pass catching running back, but he can catch the ball quite well. So it's a little tricky in college. So if I see this number kind of low, I don't put too much stock into it. But if I see it as a good number, then I do put a little bit of stock into it. I think, okay, he put up a good number in college. That means he's probably a pretty talented pass catcher. So 1.32 is a solid, it's not amazing, but it's solid number that I like to see. And again, I think it's like top 5 in this draft class. And then a couple more things here. His yards after contact at 592. However, if you think back to Kimani Vidal on the video, Kimani Vidal had over 1,000 yards after contact, but he also had like close to 300 carries. Yards per contact per attempt at 4.35 is really, really good. Really good. I think that's top 10 in the entire FBS. Top 10 in yards per contact after attempt at 4.35. That's really, really good. So his missed tackles force is at 43. Overall, and that all plays into the elusive rating and stuff like that. So overall, the underlying metrics of Jaylen Wright, even though the production wasn't quite where we want it to be at in college, the overall, the underlying numbers here are what we want to see. The yards after contact, the elusive rating, the breakaway percentage, the breakout age is fine, the PFF grade, the yards per route run, the combine numbers, you add all that together. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Jaylen Wright is the best running back in this draft class. I don't think there's a consensus number one. If they're anything close to a consensus number one is Jonathan Brooks. But to me, there's no consensus number one. Jaylen Wright could be the best running back in this class, and I wouldn't be surprised. So he's just a violent runner. He breaks through tackles. His balance is awesome. This is things I saw on tape. He's super patient. He's very, very patient and kind of allows his blockers to set up before he hits the hole, which is really, really important in a zone running scheme. So I think he'll fit well in a zone running scheme, even though he ran. He had more carries, or he was on the field more in a gap running scheme, which is like power and counter. I think he kind of fits better for a zone running scheme, in my opinion. He rarely goes down with the first contact. He's just really good playmaker with the ball in his hands. Really good burst, pretty good burst, but really good acceleration. And that plays into the 10-yard split. Pretty good, but his acceleration, if he gets past those 10 yards, he could be gone. So I think he could be a really good pass catcher. Some of the things that are a little bit concerning, maybe we want to see a little bit more weight on him, but it's not that bad. He has a little bit of a lean frame if you look at him. His route running isn't like Christian McCaffrey level, which again, not many guys are, but he's more of a screen game, swing pass type of pass catcher rather than, all right, go out wide and run a curl route or something like that. Pass blocking, we'll see how good he is as a pass blocker. A lot of college running backs just aren't good as pass blockers, and they need to learn it. That is definitely something to kind of keep an eye on. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's improved, and I think he's actually pretty good as a pass blocker. But it's college, guys. You're always going to have to improve on that. So honestly, I love Jaylen Wright. If he does stay kind of under the radar-ish, he's getting more hype for sure. I've seen people list him as their number 2, number 1 running back in this draft class. But if he does, let's say he gets 4th round draft capital, man, this is a guy that I'm looking to target in late 2nd, early 3rd of my dynasty rookie drafts, because if he does get that draft capital, I think not a lot of people are going to pay attention to him. The people that are watching this video now, you're paying attention now, which means you're invested and you're kind of following the ebbs and flows of the dynasty rookie hype, who gets hyped, and the ebbs and flows, who's getting hyped, who's not getting hyped. A lot of people are not going to be paying attention to this until after the NFL draft, right? And they're going to look at, oh, this guy went above him, I'm going to draft him or something. So Jaylen Wright, definite player that I don't want to call him a sleeper, because I think he's more than just a sleeper, but and I think he's going to be drafted as maybe the top 5 running back in this draft class. But he's a guy that I really, really like. I'm really excited about. And if he does stay under the radar, you should go out and target him. So that's all I have for you guys today. We'll be back with more Dynasty Rookie Profile videos. As always, like and subscribe, please. We'll be putting out more mock drafts and rookie scouting and all of that. So, subscribe to see all of that. That's all I have for you guys. So we will catch you guys in the next video.